Today, we're diving into something quite reflective. It's an exploration of, I guess, artistic legacy, but maybe the quieter kind, the kind that makes a profound impact without a lot of noise. Yeah, our source is an essay by Katerina Maletic. It's called Unconditional Life by Katerina Maletic. She left nothing but sketchbooks and a beautiful awakening. It was published, July 29, 2025, under Indigo and Verdigris. That's Maletic's own fine art studio. And what's really neat is that it was part of Beth Kempton's Summer of Substack Essay Festival. The theme for that festival was generosity, which feels very fitting here. Okay, so let's try and unpack this a bit.
Yeah.
That title. Wow, she left nothing but sketchbooks and a beautiful awakening. It just grabs you, doesn't it?
It really does.
It paints this picture, immediately of a life lived, away from the spotlight, but somehow it leads to this huge thing, this beautiful awakening. How does that work? Leaving nothing but sparking something so significant. It's this idea of presence even when someone's gone, but maybe deeper than that.
Yeah, and what's fascinating right from the start is that paradox Maletic sets up. She talks about this artist leaving nothing loud, nothing declared, her words.
Right.
Yet there are these invisible gifts.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? In a world that's often so focused on, big achievements, loud statements, what actually makes a real impact? And how do you even measure the generosity of a life like that?
Yeah.
One that didn't seem to be looking for applause at all.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to explore these invisible gifts, to try and understand that quiet strength, that presence, and to see how Maletic's essay, even though it sounds kind of gentle, maybe even a bit sad, ends up being so inspiring for people reading it. We want to look at the specific words she uses, the way she tells the story that creates such a powerful feeling, and maybe figure out what that means for you, thinking about your own connections, your own contributions.
And Maletic really draws you into her own discovery process, too. It's not just observation.
No, exactly. The subtitle says it all. The Artist Who Found Me, a remembrance of what nearly vanished, and the beauty that remains in her invisible gifts.
The Artist Who Found Me.
Yeah. It implies this isn't just Maletic looking back. It's like the artist's influence reached out across time and actively somehow connected with her.
That's a really interesting way to put it. It speaks to how subtle influence can be, almost like serendipity. These gifts aren't handed over, are they? They're found, discovered, through paying attention, through reflection. Maletic, by writing this, she sort of becomes the keeper of this quiet legacy, doesn't she?
Yes, sifting through what's left.
Exactly, and trying to understand its power. It really challenges how we normally think about influence. Maybe the biggest impacts are the ones that, just whisper.
And the essay itself, it paints such a clear picture, almost meditative, of the artist's life, her space. Maletic describes the studio, right? Not with grand stuff, but these quiet tools. She left behind books, brushes, and a chair by the window.
Nothing loud, nothing declared, yeah.
But in the quiet of her absence, her presence felt. It's just this snapshot of a life focused inward, on the work, not on showing off.
And what's so powerful there is how those everyday things, books, brushes, that chair, they become loaded with meaning. They're not just stuff. They're like little testimonies to a life spent looking, creating, building it in a world. Maletic uses these details so well to suggest this deep, consistent focus. It's like the life itself was the artwork.
Oh, that's a great way to think about it. Like it was composed through these daily, quiet acts. It does make you wonder, doesn't it, what ordinary things in our lives might tell a story about us later on. And Maletic doesn't just list things. She talks about the artist's process, like sketching the same tree again and again.
Through the changing seasons, yeah.
Yeah, right. Not just to capture one moment, but to understand change itself. The shifts in light, in form, it's that dedication, that quiet repetition. Maletic found that was a huge lesson.
In patience, right? And seeing beauty and consistency, something we often overlook.
Exactly.
And that's where you really see the invisible gifts taking shape. The patience, the way of seeing. You can't exactly wrap those up and give them away.
No.
They're insights you get from witnessing how someone was, how they approached life through their art. Maletic isn't just saying she was patient. She's showing how that quiet discipline actually guided her.
Her own path.
Yeah, which is a profound kind of generosity when you think about it. Intellectual, spiritual generosity.
Which brings us right back to that festival theme, generosity. Maletic's essay offers this beautiful kind of expanded definition of it.
It really does.
It suggests generosity isn't just about, donating money or making big public gestures. It's about the spirit you leave behind, the inspiration, the quiet beauty that keeps finding people.
Absolutely. It forces us to broaden our view of giving. This artist, she didn't start a foundation or anything like that.
Yeah.
Her generosity was in her commitment to beauty, to her craft, to that inner world, and just letting that show through her work. Maletic argues that simply living that authentic creative life, whether anyone noticed or not, that was the generous act.
Yeah, like a continuous offering.
Exactly. An offering of inspiration that just keeps rippling outwards subtly.
It's such a powerful counterpoint to, well, so much of our culture now, which feels very loud, very look at me. Miletic mentions how a reader, Sally Jupe, described the artist's work itself as feeling amazing, subtle, and gently inviting.
Gently inviting. That's key, isn't it?
It is. It's not art that screams for attention. It's art that sort of beckons you closer, offers something quiet, solace maybe, beauty, without needing applause.
And that gently inviting quality, that's how the gifts are received too. The artist, through her life and work, kind of created this space for connection, for awakening. Miletic isn't just standing back admiring. She's clearly been changed by encountering this artist's legacy. The essay feels less like art criticism and more like a personal testimony.
Yeah, a testimony to how a quiet presence can be transformative. How living authentically can radiate influence without any big announcement. And this leads to what Miletic calls that beautiful awakening. She doesn't just state it happened, she kind of walks us through it.
Yeah, she invites the reader into that possibility too.
Right. She described her own process, how she slowly recognized the artist's influence, understood the wisdom in that quiet life. It's a journey of paying attention, basically.
Leading to this deeper grasp of patience, dedication, the value of just focusing on beauty for its own sake.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is how she structures that, weaving her discovery into the artist's story. So you see the layers unfolding. It's almost like she's saying, look what I found here in this quiet corner. What might you find if you look closely? The awakening isn't some lightning bolt moment. It's more like a gradual dawning, seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, the profound in the quiet.
And you can tell it really struck a chord with people. You mentioned Sally Jupe loving the intimacy yet discreetness. Another reader, Patrick Johnson, commented, "The peace and serenity you describe can be felt while reading this."
That says a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how those unseen contributions land. And Miletic's own act of writing it, sharing it so personally, she signs off Love, Katerina Ra.
Yeah.
That feels like part of the same quiet generosity.
Definitely. She's not just reporting on an awakening. She's trying to facilitate one in a way.
Yeah.
And that reader feedback, it highlights how universal this feeling can be. Miletic's connection was specific, but the peace, the serenity, the appreciation for quiet intimacy. Lots of people felt that. It just reinforces the idea that generosity doesn't have to be loud. It can be that quiet offering of solace, that subtle invitation, sharing something deeply personal that transforms someone else. This essay, especially with that generosity theme framing it, makes a really strong case for the lasting power of quiet, authentic work.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Katerina Miletic's unconditional life, it's amazing how this seemingly simple story about an artist who supposedly left nothing but sketchbooks reveals so much about enduring presence, the subtle power of just creating. We saw how the essay signed off with Love, Katerina Ra really connected with readers like Patrick Johnson, feeling that peace and serenity, or Sally Jupe loving its intimacy yet discreetness.
Yeah, and connecting it to the bigger picture, Miletic's essay, within that frame of generosity, it really does broaden how we might think about what generosity even is. It's not always about the obvious stuff, what's declared. It can be about the spirit that lingers, the inspiration that sparks, the quiet beauty that keeps finding people. That line, she left behind books, brushes, and a chair by the window. Nothing loud, nothing declared. But in the quiet of her absence, her presence felt.
That captures it perfectly.
It really does. It sums up that whole profound, often missed idea of legacy.
So this deep dive leaves us with maybe a thought for you to consider, something to mull over. Think about the quiet corners in your own life, the subtle contributions. What are the books, brushes, and a chair by the window that you might be leaving behind? Or what are those unseen gifts you're sharing or maybe receiving that don't come with fanfare?
Yeah.
How might the quiet of your absence one day allow your presence to be felt in ways you can't even predict now? In beautiful ways, just like this artist's legacy keeps sparking that awakening.